So I'm a bioengineering student at Georgia Tech, and I work in physics, and what we really look at is how a sand-swimming skink moves within sand. So what makes sand so interesting? And I'm hopeful this video plays. Sand can exist in a number of states. It can act like a solid, like you see piles of sand, or it can behave like a fluid, as you can see in that. We pass air through some glass beads, and the crab sinks into it. So it's this interesting property of sand that makes it different from solids that makes us interested in studying it. And so that takes us to the desert, where there is a lot of sand. And a lot of different animals roam around and predate, mate, even occasionally get prey to other animals. But what is striking about it is that there is no refuge. So one option the animal has is to dive within the media. So that takes me to the Saharan deserts of Africa, and the hero of today's show, the Skincus skincus, or the sandfish, a lizard that has been known to dive into sand and swim within it. And here's it with Bear Grylls from Man vs. Wild, where he spends about 20 minutes trying to catch one. Luckily, I get caught once to study, so that makes it easier. But how we study it is we use a system called a C-arm, which is not very different from your dental X-ray systems. We release an animal from a holding pen onto the media, and while the animal is within the media, we use X-ray and above-surface video to see how it moves. The above-surface video doesn't really help while it's within the media. So here's a video of the animal entering into the media. So this animal is really quick. The video appears a little choppy, but within a couple hundred milliseconds, the animal can enter into the media. And above the ground, this animal roams around like any other lizard with its diagonal gait, and you couldn't really differentiate it. But what gets really interesting is what we see in the X-ray videos. And I'm trying to get out of this. And this video. Okay, and we got simultaneous X-ray videos of this animal as it moved, and you're going to see simultaneous X-ray video. Here we go. So this is the animal in real time, running on the surface and then diving within it. And what you see really is, once the animal gets subsurface, it moves much like an eel, like how an eel would swim within water. And this makes this animal really interesting. So we went down on understanding the physics behind this animal and how it really transmits forces through a granular media. And we made a big breakthrough in understanding it. But I'm sure there'll be skeptics here and people wondering, does this animal really use its limbs to move subsurface? Well, there has been some previous this one. And so recently a group from Germany published, well, these lizards, once it goes subsurface, it uses its limbs like paddles to move forward. And so, to convince the other skeptics here and to check what the Germans were saying, we attached opaque markers to the limbs of the sandfish, and again, I did that for the Mac people. Use the Mac. I did that for the Mac people. Okay, so here's the sandfish with markers on its body, and you can see clearly that one subsurface, the animal just tucks the limbs against its side, just using its body to move forward. And we used a whole lot of empirical experiments using physics to try and figure out, and we did prove that the animal does not really need to use its limbs to move forward. And so this can tell us only so much. You can test the animal, but there are limitations to what the animal can do. And so really what we need is another way of getting at this. And what we've devised is a numerical model in which you put in the properties of the animal, you put in the properties of the media in terms of molecular dynamic simulation, and what you can actually simulate then is the animal moving within sand. And with this video would have played, you can see that. And I'm not going to put you through that. Maybe I will. Before Colin pulls me off. But, yeah. So this is the animal moving with sand, and the sand has the same properties as the material we use in the granular media. and the animal has the same anatomical characteristics as it has in our experiment. And so stay tuned, there's more to come. This work is a work in progress.